Hi, I'm Stuart from the Norfolk Honey Company and welcome to another video in our queen rearing series for 2017. Today is a continuation of the alley method of queen rearing, and you'll notice that today I'm at a different site. I'm at my national hive apiary, and the reason I'm here is because in the previous video using the Miller frame we used the queen mating nukes, but I understand and appreciate that not everybody wants to use or has a need to use queen mating nukes and would rather use a standard nuke box or maybe some other nuke system in order to raise their queens. So what I've got is a four-way national mating hive. It was given to me by my brother, and it consists of several compartments that you can use for individual nucleus colonies, and we'll take a look at that in the moment. I've also got several nuke boxes which are for national frames, and again this is my only apiary with hives that take the national frame, so I need to fill up the nuke boxes here before taking them back to our queen rearing apiary, and then we'll take a look at the alley frame and transfer some of those queen cells. Hopefully we've got some good looking queen cells and we can transfer those across into the nuke boxes before the heavens open. One of the important things when you're queen rearing is to understand that you have a timetable that you have to work to. So once you've started the whole process of queen rearing, you can't suddenly hit the pause button. Those queen cells are going to develop and are going to grow into viable queen cells that are going to emerge after 16 days. And so it's important that you allow in your timetable a structure to allow you to get those queen cells safely into whatever nuke system that you're using. And you have to do that regardless of the weather. We can't now stop for a couple of days because it's going to rain. One of the issues with the alley method is that you're taking a strip of cells that might contain eggs, some very young larvae, but some larvae that's maybe a few hours older, and it's the older larvae that could cause you problems. If, for instance, there are eggs that have only just been laid, then they are going to be on day one, but if you have older larvae, let's say that it's 8 to 12 hours old, and the workers decide that they're going to make queen cells from those as well, then those are going to be at approximately 3.5 days old. And if you set your timetable up from just the youngest eggs, so you assume that the eggs have only just been laid and give yourself a full timetable of 16 days, you'll find that the larvae are going to emerge and could then well destroy all of the other queen cells that you've got in your setup. Before we get blown away and head over to the pickup and take a look at the mating nuke, I just wanted to give a big shout out and thank you to all of our newest patrons that have signed up over the last month, and they are helping support me in producing all of these videos, so I'm very grateful to all of you. That's Mikey and Fran, Fred and Patricia. I really appreciate your support in helping via our Patreon website. And if you haven't yet taken a look at the Patreon website, then I'll leave all the information in the description below, and you can perhaps take a look at that at some point later. So let's go across and take a look at the national four-way mating hive, and then we can go across and load it up and then transport it back to our queen rearing apiary. So this is the hive, just a normal roof, but then what we have are four sections, mini crowing boards, as you can see it hasn't been used for a while, and it has these dividers which go down through the hive body itself and separate each of the individual sections. That then lifts off the base, which currently has lots of spiders in it, and this again is separated. It's got a raised section all the way around, and so the bees are trapped in their individual compartments. So all we do is place the frames into each of these sections, and then there's a hole on each side, which is the entrance for the nukes. And then the crime boards can go back on top. And we can put a single jar feeder on each of these as well, which is quite useful. So all that remains is really to go and break down a hive, find the queen, set up a nuke for the queen, and then we can fill this with individual frames. The sections here, which take 2 frames, we'll have a frame of food and a frame of brood, and the ones with 3 we can mix and match, but at least 1 frame of brood and possibly a brood and a half. So let's go fill this box with some bees. So this is the colony that I've selected. It had been suffering from quite a lot of chalk brood. It seems to have cleared up a little bit now, but we're going to replace the queen in this colony anyway. So we're now going to split down the hive and transfer it into this box. So what we're looking for is brood that we can transfer across into each of the separate sections of the mating hive, the 4-way hive. And then when we find the queen, we'll unfortunately she has to go because she has chalk brood in this colony. So we'll remove the queen. So what we have here is a nice frame of brood, so that can go into another one of the sections. More brood, so that goes into another section. Another frame of brood. So we've now got a frame of brood in each of the 4 sections of the national 4-way mating hive. And that's another frame of brood. And what I'd really like to find now is some frames of food, which tend to be towards the outside. So this one's got some food on it, but also quite a lot of brood. But that's okay, it has some food, so that's good. We can give that to one of the sections in the middle, and they now have food stores. one thing that these bees are lacking somewhat is food stores. So what we'll do is we'll get some sugar syrup onto them as soon as we get them back and ready to go. And we can use simple jar feeders to go on top. Okay, so we've now split down the hive. We've got one additional frame which we can shake across the top. The queen excluder, which again can be shaken across the top. And now we can put the tops on here, and that will hold the bees inside and safe for travelling. And these nukes are now going to become queenless, so they will readily accept a queen cell when we put a queen cell in when we get to the mating apiary. I'll just pop the roof on top of that, and then that's ready to be strapped up and ready to go. And in order not to lose the bees that we have left, because there are quite a lot of bees out foraging, we'll place the super on here. So this then becomes a mini colony in its own right. The queen has been found and destroyed. And we've got quite a lot of bees in the super here, and all the flying bees will come back. Then once we've got some mated queens that are laying, we can then put this hive back together again and give these bees a new queen. I've disassembled that one colony and I've made up several other nukes. We'd got a couple of nukes here that were queenless anyway, so I've loaded those onto the back of the pickup, and we're now going to head over to the queen rearing apiary, where hopefully we've got an alley frame that's loaded with queen cells and ready to be cut out. And as you can probably tell, the wind is picking up as well, so we're going to cut out the cells and get them into these nukes as quickly as we can, but we'll show you the alley frame, and hopefully we've had more success this time round compared to the Miller frame. But we'll catch up again as soon as we're at the queen rearing apiary. Okay, so we're back at the queen rearing apiary, and I'm just about to break down the cell builder colony so we can take a look at the alley frames. Okay, so it's the newer frame that we're looking at. A moment of truth. And that looks really positive. I don't know if we can see, let's try not to crush any bees. So we've got several really nice queen cells here. What we don't want to do is to shake the bees off, so I'm just going to brush some of them off, and then what we'll do is we'll take them over to the table. Well, that looks like we've got some really good queen cells, so let's go over to the table and we can cut them out and get them into cages and then into our queenless nukes. So here's our alley frame, we've got the 2 strips. These were the strips that we tied on. You can see the fishing wire. The weather's starting to change quite dramatically. It was a nice sunny afternoon just a few moments ago, but now it's become quite grey and windy again. So we'll have to move fairly quickly, but you can see that we've got some really very nice queen cells here. So we're going to place these into the nukes that we've brought over. I'll demonstrate one and then I'm going to crack on and get the rest in, and then hopefully we'll have what looks like a good dozen or so queens emerging, mating and going on to head their own colonies successfully. I'm going to use the bee equipment queen cell cages again, these protectors, which I think are really good. I particularly like the tabs on the top, which allows it to sit quite nicely between 2 frames in a queenless nuke. So we're going to try and fit some of these in, and then we're going to drop them into our queenless nukes. So let's start at the top here. What I'm going to do is just to cut through the wax comb and then cutting through the fishing line so that we can then cut the cell away, and there we have one nice looking queen cell ready to go in. So this cell looks like it is quite nicely set up for a protector cell, so we'll use that, and then we're just going to cut through the top, and that will cut through the wires as well, the fishing line. And there we have a queen cell in its protector cage, ready to go into one of the queenless nukes. Well, I've moved to a quieter spot so that the wind and road noise doesn't interfere quite so much. I think it's fair to say that that was quite successful. I'm really pleased with the way that frame has turned out. We've ended up, I haven't counted them all up, but I've ended up placing 12 of the queen cells into either the 4-way mating nuke hive or into separate nuke boxes, and I'm sure that we'll get some success with mating, and then those queens can go on to head their own colony, and we can assess them to see what kind of queens they are, what temperament they have, their honey production, their hygiene, that kind of thing. So that's it for the alley method. We'll be moving on to another method next time, which is called the cell punch method, and I've been supplied with a cell punch frame that we're going to try out for the very first time and see just how effective using a cell punch is. We're going to break down the cloak board hive, and we're going to turn that cell builder into 2 separate cell building colonies, and I'll show you how we do that next time round. I hope you found that interesting and informative, and I hope that you'll be enthused to give it a try yourself, and if you do try it, please do let me know how you get on. Leave some comments down below underneath the description, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please do consider subscribing. We've got an ever-growing back catalogue of hopefully informative and useful videos for you, and if you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to also select the small bell button, which will give you an alert each time we publish a new video. For those of you that are on social media, we're on Facebook with our group called Stuart's Beekeeping Basics, and I've also got an Instagram and Twitter account where we post occasional photos and information relating to our videos and our beekeeping. And finally, don't forget that you can join my inner circle of beekeepers at Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/Norfolk Honey, there you can join in a more informed discussion, have more access to myself and to help and information, and also of course you'll be helping support me in producing these videos. So we'll look forward to seeing you next time when we produce some queen cells using the cell punch method. Don't forget, we've also got our Getting Started series on a Wednesday and our brand new Maysmore Apiaries Poly Hives apiary, which comes out on a Friday. But until the next video, thanks for watching.